So Charlie, why did you choose CS Partners when it came to hiring for a senior position at CheckerSpot?
Well, there were a couple of considerations about why we ended up choosing CS Partners. One is reputation and the fact that we had some past experience and relationships that spoke very highly of CS Partners and Simon, you specifically, given the outcome of some searches in the past. But for us, what we were finding in the market was that, well, two things. One, there was a need for specialization, and the fact that you specifically, Simon, have built your business around the space that we occupy within biomanufacturing and applications within chemicals and within food. The network that you've built is really impressive. And so we wanted to align and tap into that. I think it's fair to say that the space is competitive. You're not the only recruiter executive search firm that has those relationships or that has that specialization, but something that really emerged that differentiated you from our standpoint that was important was international exposure. And I remember meeting you in London. I forget exactly when it was, but it was months before we actually engaged and retained you. And I had been meeting with some potential partners in Western Europe and just had this sense that when it comes to sustainability and when it comes to investment and support around innovation and new materials, like today, Europe and Western Europe specifically, and Japan are further along relative to what I perceive the US chemical industry is doing. And so tapping into a broader network and talent that has international exposure and international relationships, that I think for me was one of the key differentiating features. And then of course, just the time that you invested in getting to know us without pressing us to sign something up and to engage, and the conversations that we had where there was knowledge exchange and just having the ability to connect in a cultural way, that was just, I guess, the icing on the cake. That was really important for us.
That's great, thank you. And how happy were you with the collaboration and the outcome?
Yeah, the process was, I think, longer than both of us had anticipated. And that the reason that it was longer falls entirely on our shoulders. We, probably to a fault, are very deliberate. We try to be really thoughtful about getting to know people that we're going to work with. And in this case, for CheckerSpot, it was the first time that we had worked with an outside search firm, not leveraging our own network. And there was a whole set of reasons why we wanted to do that and really be systematic. And the process that that you led in being extremely rigorous, in boiling the ocean, in having like the first list of candidates that numbered in, I think, the hundreds, just really impressed me and the others on the team. And then how you and the team went about whittling that down and getting to the short list ultimately was fantastic. Along the way, I also felt like we had to have a couple of hard conversations about, what specifically we were looking for and how we wanted to frame the position description. And those conversations were extremely collaborative, and you added a lot of value, in my opinion, in some surprising ways, where you were pressing us and pressing me specifically to think about things in a different way than we were. And that's so valuable. And I have experience in the past where at times service providers will just do what the client says. That's ultimately not that valuable. And really building a relationship with you where you could say, Charlie, I hear what you're saying. I don't think you're thinking about this the right way. What about this approach? And to take that on board, I really valued and cherished and was appreciative. And I think it ultimately ended up getting us to a much stronger place at the end of the day. And, we're delighted with where we are now.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that. And what would be the main reasons why you would recommend CS Partners service to someone else?
Well, reinforcing some of the things that I touched on earlier. I mean, the international component relative to too acute of a focus here in the U.S. How systematic the process was, the relationship building, being able to convey to you and the team, Alex, in addition, what it is that we do, which is not entirely straightforward and complex. I mean, we're vertically integrated. We have molecular biology and fermentation and chemistry and material science and fabrication and all of those things you guys got and had the ability to relay onto others in a really cogent, crisp way that impressed us. And then the whole focus around like the qualitative side of candidates, and it's one thing to have the resume, the deal sheet, the IP filed, like the accomplishments that are quantitative, those metrics. It's a whole nother thing to really think about the cultural fit of individuals. And one thing that I didn't voice earlier that really was important for us is the qualitative assessment that you manage with clients and the insights around cultural fit that emerged from that are hugely valuable. And yeah, those are some of the things that I would describe as being important and why I would recommend CS Partners to others in the industry.